After Wednesday, Chiefs fans have to ask themselves one thing. Are you ready for the Clyde? Welcome back to RGR Football. I'm Ryan. This is me going rogue on the Kansas City Chiefs and the NFL. And the NFL has a lot going on for it this week. And I'm just going to take these off because I just finished recording the podcast. We got a little bit surprised by the news about Damien Williams. The video for that day had already been done, so I'm going to give you this here before we get to the rumors, which we'll get to in a couple of minutes. I know you guys dig those, and there are plenty of completely ludicrous rumors to get to, but the opt-out of Damien Williams really made a difference in how this season looks like it's going to be able to go. There's a lot to it, but the pure fact is that Damien was going to be the starter. And you were going to be able to pepper Clyde Edwards-Helaire into the offense. He's a guy that has already talked about protecting Pat Mahomes, so that's great to hear, and everyone's going to be very, very happy about that. But there's more to it than just that, and it does take some time to learn an offense. With Damien sitting out the year, which is interesting in and of itself, we'll get to that in a second. With him sitting out, it allows Clyde to really step up into that role. A first-round pick means that he's going to get a lot of touches. Now, there are other guys that are going to be affected. Darrell Williams is going to be back. Darrell and Clyde, I expect to be the tandem. You can do a lot of things in both pass and run with those two guys. And I think Darrell has shown that he's been putting up performance that's quite above the expectations were for a UDFA from a couple of years ago. That said, there's always going to be competition. And that's going to come in the form of a couple of guys in DeAndre Washington and Darwin Thompson in particular. Now, Elijah McGuire's there as well. But that doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to get a true run at it. There is a possibility that they keep those four, Elijah on the practice squad. There's also a possibility that Darwin goes to the practice squad as well. The rules that they're going to have after the opt-outs are going to really change the concept of how many guys you keep at each position. And getting roster spots for running backs is sometimes difficult. We have seen the Chiefs keep 3 and sometimes 4. That will be very interesting to see if they do want to keep bodies at that position when they know they're going to have to keep a couple extra offensive linemen, as well as a couple extra DBs because of what they're going to have suspension-wise, etc. So it goes into a bigger formula that's really going to reveal just how the Chiefs are going to approach this season. I can't say that I was expecting this. I'm a little surprised, and that's because Damien's in the last year of his contract. And for Damien, that means he had to put a performance out that he could be proud of, that he could try to get another contract at another team with. I don't think Damien was destined to come back after playing the final year of this contract. So for him, he takes a year off to pause, gets super healthy, knock on wood, and then he comes back and he will be under contract for the 2021 season. He could come back, play that, and actually look to put up big numbers. But in the meantime, his decision allows Clyde Edwards-Helaire to take over the primary running back role. Now, yes, there's going to be competition with Darrell and Darwin and DeAndre, another 3D backfield. But that head start, so to speak, instead of having a year where he learns, Clyde's going to get plenty of touches. Clyde's going to be the man that I think Darrell's going to help. Darrell might even start early in the season and let Clyde come in, again, because there's a lot to learn and a lot to get under your belt for Clyde Edwards-Helaire, but he's going to get there. And this may cede the job in the future to Clyde. Damien may have actually made the decision here in worrying about the performance in allowing himself to be not eligible to come back. The Chiefs may end up having to release him based on what happens with Clyde this season. If Clyde is the monster that a lot of us expect that he can be, there's going to be very little room to share that duty with Damien Williams in 2021, in which case he could be released and allowed to look elsewhere for employment. And then you would expect that he would get that, and the Chiefs would be looking at a compensatory pick in return down the line. That is what I think is one of the scenarios. I don't know right now as we stand tonight what the opted out players are eligible for trade or not. That could be another option that we'll explore, and I'll get more information for you. But right now, get ready for Clyde. He and Darrell, I think, are going to be a 1-2 punch. And I think it's going to be really exciting at the running back position in 2020 as soon as we can get them rolling. Now, I do have rumors for you, so I'm going to cut over there and tell you guys what you shouldn't believe. So now we're going to get into the rumor section of this video. And I know you guys love these, and that's mostly because I'm not going to tell you to write a comment of 2 letters down below, and I'm not going to try to sell you a jersey and make money off of that. You guys can always support me if you want, and you know how to do that, but I'm not doing it in videos. So let's talk about what the concepts are. Rumor one, Tedrick Thompson is going to unseat Armani Watts. This is kind of silly. Tedrick Thompson is going to be backfill. There isn't anybody right now that can actually step in for Juan Thornhill, including Armani Watts, but Armani will get that shot if Juan Thornhill, for some reason, isn't ready to take all the number one reps. It's going to be Watts. Thompson is a guy that they had on their board coming out a couple of years ago. It's not an indication that he's taking anyone's job. This is going to be a competition, and quite frankly, the Chiefs like to balance their roster as often as they possibly can in terms of keeping guys at positions that they feel they could need down the road and keep their options open, whether it's a practice squad or a depth signing that we don't even know who they're going to keep. That's going to change drastically with the COVID situation, depending on who opts out and who comes up sick. So keep an eye out on that, but don't worry about Armani Watts at this point. Secondly, the concept that people are floating out there that Kelechi Osemele is an instant quote-unquote upgrade over Laurent Duvernay-Tardif. That is not the case. You will hear people say that, especially those that fancy themselves as analysts who don't actually know this team very well. And that is the fact that he is a completely different kind of player, and we don't know just how healthy he is. I have to give him a lot of credit because the reason that he is available is because he had a dispute with the New York Jets. And quite frankly, I can't think of another team that you could really get away with feeling better about being in a dispute with, that he wanted to get himself corrected surgically in that shoulder and make sure that he was 100%. He felt that was best for his health and his career, and they did not believe that. They wanted him to play, rehab, and take that route, so they had him available. Again, I feel that this dispute comes from the player's best interest not being the same as what the team is trying to do, and they're trying actually to push him a little bit farther than he was willing to go. I say good for him. Take care of your health. Be in a position to do what he's doing now in joining a Super Bowl contender at the very, very least. That also does put a caveat out there is he healed? Is he 100%? I have a feeling this is probably not only something that bothered him in New York, but may have actually affected him longer ago when still with the Raiders. We saw a very steep decline in his performance as he came off of the 2017 season. 18 was rough in Oakland, 19 was rough in New York, but that doesn't mean that he cannot play. If you are in that situation where you've been hurt a couple of seasons, you may just want to take the time to get yourself right for your future and not necessarily putting the New York franchise ahead of your own best interests. So more power to him. But it also is a fit issue. He is not an athletic, get out in space type of guard like we've seen from Laurent Duvernay-Tardif, who is specifically built for the Andy Reid offense. There is more to it than that. And I think this is going to signal a change in the way they go about playing the game. And it's also not a one-for-one swap. I don't think in the end you're going to see him on the right-hand side because of those differences. I think he's more natural at the left side, as you guys saw me talk about the other day. And I think that in the end, that's exactly where it's going to go. Lastly, the rumor that somehow Patrick Mahomes is distracted by his new chunk of ownership in the KC Royals, or that he's not 100% dedicated to football for some reason, is just out in left field, so to speak. Patrick Mahomes is 150% dedicated to this Chiefs team and this Chiefs season and running it back for another Super Bowl championship for you. He is not distracted. This is a nice little piece of ownership when, quite frankly, the franchise has a number of owners that have small stakes in it. So it's not like he's going to be asked day-to-day questions about a baseball team when he's trying to be an athlete on the field. He will be 100% focused without doubt. Anybody that tells you different is just making things up. And that's the rumors for this week. I hope you guys are enjoying these still. We're going to have plenty of news as the team gets going and gets out of the strength and conditioning phase. So check back next week. We will have plenty more. I'll have something special for you over the weekend. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Thanks for checking it out, and check these out as well. I will check you next time. Thanks for watching this video from the team at RGR Football. Click these videos to see more and subscribe to RGR Football.